Hope everybody appreciated being out there all day today. That was Mike Hazel's idea, endorsed by Travis and myself. But just to give you a little bit more access today in day 2. I'm not sure that you've been able to be at a full practice. I don't know when. So not under my regime. All right. Questions?
Early impressions, what are you looking for these first couple days?
A little bit better execution. You know, I think we were pretty good yesterday. Not as good today. Just, you know, being a full cycle, a little further along. I mean, that's what I'm looking for, to see us play a little cleaner on both sides of the ball earlier in camp. You know, so that we can be a better product when we get to September.
Sounds like you had Wells with the ones yesterday, drones with the ones today. Is that going to be the plan at quarterback, and how long do you envision doing something like that?
Right now, that's the plan. It didn't look very good today. You know, we threw the ball much better yesterday than we did today. But that's the plan right now until something tells us to do it differently.
How do you evaluate something like that when the passing game is not going well? Is it like, oh, the passing game's not going well, or the quarterback's covered well?
Yeah, I think you go in and look at the film, right? I mean, you can kind of have your gut and your instincts when you leave the practice field, but you got to be careful till you watch the film and see what really happened. You know, could have been good defensive play, could have been, you know, some new coverage in there, could have been not getting open or wrong route or miscommunication or just bad ball. You know, so you evaluate it and you hear from the receiver coach, you hear from the quarterback coach. You know, you get a better idea of what really happened.
Are you seeing those guys building chemistry with the new additions at wide receiver?
Yeah, I think so. You know, they had a great summer that way. You know, just, you know, in June, we got a chance to be around them, and then, you know, all the extra work they did, and watching them on Saturdays out there, just, I mean, there's pretty good chemistry going on. I think they have a pretty good feel for one another. You know, we did some things defensively today that made it a little more challenging on the offense. But
on paper, it looks like your O-line looks like one of the youngest groups you got. How do you like the way that they're trying to come together and find that right fit up front?
Well, from a depth standpoint, you know, because you got a couple of veterans, but of course you got Xavier in the lineup right now. You got Braylon, a couple of young guys. You know, we're still sorting out the other spot, but you know, we're young in a lot of places. Our depth chart will have a bunch of freshmen and redshirt freshmen in the 2 deep, in the back end, you know, and at defensive end potentially, and you know, wide receiver. I mean, we got some freshmen that'll work in there.
Looked like you threw Lovett, Braylon Johnson in there in some stuff with 11 on 11. Do you want to really test those guys early on, see if they can contribute this year?
Yeah, both those guys, you know, we've got high expectations for them. And there's going to have to be one, probably 2 of those freshman DBs play, like in September. They're going to have to be ready to go. So, you know, whether it's Christian, you know, whether it's Braylon, whether it's Dante, whether it's a combination of them, but that's going to have to happen.
You got Cotman at that star. Is that more of a nickel for him, or is that like a true star position for you?
That's a true hybrid. You know, he gives, you know, ultimately you'd like to play with a guy that has some of the coverage skills that he has. You know, he's a fluid athlete. He's a good athlete. He transitions well. So he's got some real strengths at that position that he brings to it. You know, one of those things, again, he's a freshman that we're trying to figure out where can he help us the quickest.
You mentioned last week with Jesse not knowing his situation, he announced medical retirement. He was out there today. What role do you see him playing in this year?
Yeah, he's really going to be a student assistant.
Okay.
He's got some surgery coming up that's going to have him out of pocket a little bit, but he's part of the program. He wants to be. We want him to be. You know, he's an experienced guy that can particularly help the young guys.
You talk a lot about how the coaching staff needs to be better. Do you like how the coaching staff is operating right now? What parts of that you still want to see kind of improvement?
Yeah, I do. I think we're in a much better place. I feel good about the direction it's going with the staff. I feel good about the plans that they have in place. I think I'm more involved offensively to know what's going on and decisions that are being made, and we're certainly in a better place that way.
Coach Braylon tweeted that Jalen Jones was what goes into that, and what has he done? What have you seen from him? What do you like him so far 2 days in?
Yeah, he's trended ever since we moved him. He had a couple of injury setbacks that kind of kept him from progressing like I think he could have. But he had a great break on the ball yesterday and got his hands on it. I mean, good body position, good instincts. He didn't catch the ball. I felt he should have. Told him that's why he moved to DB. But he's doing some good things. The more and more he reps, the more and more we notice him.
How do you structure the early part of camp here? The phases that you try to hit, benchmarks for the different weeks?
Yeah, so we're going 5 mini camps. We're going 3 days, day off, 3 days, day off, 3 days, day off. So we can do a good evaluation on that 4th day and see where we're at and what do we need to do in this next mini camp. Just so that we're progressing the right way and making decisions about slow down install or make personnel moves. Give us a chance to catch our breath. We're going to get the same number of practices in as everybody else. We just put the calendar out a little different.
Is that different than what you did last year?
Yeah.
At this time, and is there anything else that you're approaching differently in year 2 versus year 1?
Yeah, so it's 5 mini camps, 3 practices in each camp with a day off, and then we're going to have a bonus week prior to Old Dominion where we're going to structure it just like game week.
What have you seen in kind of the Mike linebacker competition currently, especially with guys like Jaden Keller and Alan Tisdale who have a little more experience in this defense and at that Mike spot?
Yeah, it's a heck of a competition. I'm excited about it. They're all doing some good things, including McDonald. He's going to factor in there as well. Right now, Tizzy's working at will, probably a little more than Mike, working over there with Kelly. But McDonald and Keller doing a nice job there. And we're building some depth. Matt Johnson and Stone Snyder are doing good things too. So we're in a pretty good place there.
With Tyler in the quarterback's room now, how do you expect that to change his connection or relationship with those guys over the course of the season? And how do you expect that to show itself on the field?
Well, I just think the relationship, the communication, you're not going through somebody else. Everybody knows how secondhand news is, right? And it's never as good as hearing it in first person. So it's, I think having him in there is we've already benefited from that. And the relationship, the communication, the finer points, very happy with that decision.
Most Phillips seems like a guy who's getting some reps with kind of the first and second team a little. What are your expectations for him, and how much do you think he might contribute this season?
Yeah, he's another freshman that has a chance to be in the 2 deep, to have a role. He's a coach's kid. The game comes pretty easy to him. He's a worker. All those young DBs, you're like, man, I wish we were a year down the road as far as physically and just where they're at. But, man, their skill set and aptitude and work ethic and approach, I love it all. They're a good group. They're just going to be young.